Good morning. It's my birthday. I'm 21. Again. It's lovely and overcast here in Wombenshire today. And we are just waiting to be joined by what hasn't she done? Thanks, Scottbird. The brilliant and talented, all-round, legs kicking, note belting, Anna Jane Casey. She is a dream. She has done so much. I have got a lot to get through. Some of the shows that she has been in, I can't mention them because there's so many, and we'll be here till my next birthday. So what we'll do is we'll wait for her to join, and then we'll chitty chat with her. Oh, isn't it lovely? I'm just going to have a drink. Yes, so I've had a lovely morning. I've woken up, and yes, it's just I can't believe that I'm about to have birthday brunch with Jane Casey. She's here. I shall add her in. And wait, show me Anna. Yay!
Hi.
Hi, friend.
I'm having a bagel, babes.
Babes, you have your bagel. I've had my sausage sandwich because it just all go down me. You know what I mean? You look good.
Comedy sausage. Are you all right, love?
Yes, thank you.
Let me just swallow this because I've got something for you. Because I'm sure. How old are you today? Like 16? No.
16, going on 17.
Let me do this now because otherwise I'll get really nervous and then I'll be rubbish. Are you ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Adam. Happy birthday to you. Yeah.
You are too much, lady. Too much.
So what's going on in your life apart from the fact that you're only 16 today?
Nothing really, doll. I gave up my job, a good job, to become a dresser this year, and then this happened. But I had a lovely pantomime season at Birmingham, so that really opened my eyes to the job. But yeah, so, just live my best life. What about you?
About it. Well, what about the fact I had like concerts with the Halle Orchestra and the Royal Philharmonic and all that? And now I'm delivering parcels and look at my injuries.
I'm thinking of that. What have you done?
Oh my God. I got bit by a dog the other week.
No.
This is a dog bite. I mean, this is just lifting parcels. Yesterday I had 132 to deliver. Didn't, but holy shamoly. It's hard in the real world, isn't it? I'm like, open a theatre, I've got a frock on.
Should we jump straight in? They've got so much stuff. Anna Jane Casey, the lady that has done it all. What was the first show that you ever saw?
Okay, so I was about 8 or 9, and I'm from Manchester, obviously, and my mum and dad took me to see Swan Lake at the Palace Theatre, and we were sat on the second row. And all I can remember when all the swans came out and they had the dry ice was wafting over me, and I was sitting there, I was about 8 or 9, I was like, I want to be on that stage. I mean, how stagey, ridiculous. Like, my parents are market traders, and I'm just like, just to go to a local dance school. But I knew then, and not that I wanted to be a ballet dancer, because that's too hard. That's proper concentrating. But I just thought, I want to be doing that. And then about 18 months later, they did Annie at the Palace Theatre, and I was one of the orphans. I was Tessie. I never made it to be an Annie.
Wow.
Still bitter. No, I'm not really.
I had a very similar experience. I went to see, my dad's a carpet fitter. Couldn't be more worried, do you know what I mean? And we went to see Me and My Girl because Faye from Steps was in it. That's why I was taken.
Lovely.
And I sat there, and I still speak to now, Charlotte Ryby, loads of the West End. I sat there, and I was like, right, this is it. It's happening. This is it. This is the calling. And I think those experiences are so important. And like you said, I can literally remember everything about that little 30 seconds of, ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That feeling, and I know I'm out of my husband because my husband's a performer as well.
Oh, I know, darling.
He's more sensible. I'm unbelievably stagey, and I don't apologise for it either, because it's such a wonderful feeling, which is why I think a lot of us in the industry are feeling really like, oh my God, like deep depression, because you haven't got that outlet to just go anymore, because of the fact that you can sit on an aeroplane with 300 people, but you can't sit in a theatre with a mask on. Don't get me started.
That box out, love. What was the first performance you ever did? As in, like,
performance? What, paid? Or
no,
just
no, no, like in your backyard, at school.
So it was at school, and I was probably 6 or 7, and it was the Three Kings. We three kings of Orient are, and I was the third one, which is Myrrh. Myrrh is mine. So the first one sings gold, second one frankincense, and I needed a wee. And I was like, that's 6. So I start jiggling, and I go, Myrrh is mine, and just pee myself.
I mean,
I
perfect.
was 6, I peed myself, but let me tell you, I sang that verse like a bitch. I was tired, but I was covered in wee. So, I mean, that's just indicative of my life, really, isn't it?
And then,
covered in wee.
where a teacher puts their arm onto the stage, trying to duck, and then just drags you off.
I think there was just like a slow puddle. I think, well, obviously it was Christmas, so I would have had tights on, because I'm always cold, because I'm dead wiry and thin, and it just seeped through my tights.
Gosh.
All
Because
the glamour.
and if you did, I know obviously we'll talk about it later, but you obviously did Joseph. But if you ever did the Ken Wright tour, they have all the children on the side of stage. Now, I have seen arms come through the curtain,
No.
drag these poor kids off.
Dragging poor Jimmy off because he's fiddling with his nuts. Stop fiddling with your nuts, Jimmy. Get off. Yeah.
What was your first professional job, Anna?
First professional job was Annie. I was 10 years old. I think we earned £12 a performance, and you were only allowed to do, out of the 8 shows a week, I think you did, there was teams, they rotated, so we did 4. So what's 4 12s? Terrible at maths. 36, about £38 a week when I was 10 years old. Yeah.
But your first West End job was Cats.
It was.
You were 8 years old.
I was 16, hadn't been kissed, kicked or run over. I was probably cheap as chips as far as the office were concerned, because once again, £220 a week I cleared after tax. 220 quid, man, I'm a West End show, and I thought I was loaded.
I'll get the drinks, guys.
And then I found out some other people were on like £1,000 a week, and I was like, what?
Being in that show, being in Cats, and obviously knowing about it, and of course, it's got such a reputation. What was the singular hardest dance minute in that show?
Well, it's everyone says it's the Jellicle Ball, because it's like 14 minutes long. I mean, it's in sections, but towards the end, you know, when you get to the and as an audience member, you're like, well, this is nice. As a performer, you're like, I'm gonna die. Your lungs are shrunk to the size of raisins, so you're like, and it's, yeah, you're knackered. So even at 16, I was there from 16 to 18. I don't know how anybody over 25 actually does that job, because it's really frickin' tough. And crawling around on your hands and knees, you know, and sticking your foot behind your ear and licking your own private parts. It's not for £220 a week.
And then she went on stage.
And then I thought, oh, I'm on. So, yeah, that's hard. The Jellicle Ball is hard, and everybody says it. But you never forget it. Even now, you know, you'll meet people and they're like 60, and they're like, we still remember the moves. Yeah.
Would you ever consider going back to that show, Anna? As a certain...
An old Deuteronomy?
No! I'm thinking more as Grisabella.
Do you know what? I'd like to be, what's she called? Gumby. Goss is the cat. Or Jelly Loram. Be like the really old Nana one. Because I am nearly 50. I'm 107. In dancer's years, I'm dead. So,
she's died. Dancer's died twice. She's had it.
So Jelly Loram I could do. I could do a bit of that.
Definitely. And look, and the first couple of things you did weren't like these little art house shows. You did Joseph, and then Grease, and then Starlight Express, and then West Side Story. Doing all those beautiful shows, did you ever get bored of the soundtracks of them?
No, that's really, once again, stagey. I'm not afraid to say it. No, I think they're beautiful, and what you get bored with, not necessarily bored, but what becomes repetitious is the same moves every night. But the only way to get past that, and you do, you know, you'll know yourself, and every performer knows that you can get to a point where you're saying the lines and singing the song, but you're thinking, oh, am I going to roast that chicken later or should I have the salmon? So it becomes your automatic pilot, but then that makes you go, oh my God, where am I? I'm in the middle of a show. So no, not bored, just distracted, let's say.
And during Greece, you got to play Rizzo.
I did, twice.
Twice, darling. Did you have a relationship with that movie beforehand? Did you know the character?
I did, and I'm a child of the 70s, and Grease came out, I think, in 78, and I got for my birthday, so I'm born 72, so I'm 7 years old, and they had a little book, like a story, like the storyboard of the film, so they take shots from the film, and they had like the characters speaking, so, oh, Danny, oh, Sandy, so it was like a photo book, and I remember getting that for my birthday when I was, like I say, 6 or 7, so I knew it for a long, long time. And then doing the show is great. Everybody knows it. I mean, my little ones, I've got a 13 and an 8-year-old, and they know Grease as well. It's universal, so it was great to do.
I think it's one of the. I think it's. I mean, for me, the movie. One Easter, stuck in a caravan. It rained all weekend. We watched it back to back to back.
It's fantastic.
Can't beat it.
Can't go wrong.
So in Starlight Express, obviously, there's that skating bit you have to do. It's not compulsory, but you have to do it. What is it really physically demanding, Anna?
Well, before I did Starlight, because I've been doing West End stuff for quite a while before I went into Starlight.
Yeah.
And to be honest, most people who hadn't done Starlight thought it was like it's the joke show, because it was kind of off West End, because we weren't Shaftesbury Avenue. You were like, we're in Victoria somewhere. And then when you actually
out, Wicked being off West End.
Yeah, and Hamilton, off West End, you know what I mean? So it's down the road something. So you kind of were like, oh, that's a show for people who aren't really performers. It's just for like skaters or for like kids who like Wicked, a bit like, street. Then when you do it, you're like, holy cow, this is really hard. And as far as the skating goes, so I kind of fibbed to get into the show because I knew Nicola Traherne, who was the resident director, and she said, can you skate? And I was like, yeah, no problem. Like, I've been to 2 roller discos when I was 15. Like, that was it. So I didn't have to do the skate school. I auditioned, I sang, I did a bit of dancing. They're like, you're in. So the 8 weeks that they give you, which learning the skating and the show, literally up until about 4 days before I opened, I couldn't skate backwards. And they were going, they were like, you have to learn to skate back. I can't do it.
Don't make me.
And the same way that, if you're making a Victoria sponge or you're welding, something clicks. Oh, that's how you do it. And about 3 days before I could actually skate backwards. But the little classic story. So my mother, who'd never seen the show, she was like, oh, so when you do the races, so you're on the skates, but you skate with them when you race, and then you take them off, do you, to do the routine? I was like, no, you're on the skates the whole time, you dozy cow. So her face on the first night in the audience was like the audience of the producers, like this. Because she didn't realise that I'm on skates for 2.5 hours. She was like, oh my gosh, she's going to die. So that was classic, seeing my mother like, yeah.
And how many times did you fall over, Anna?
Oh, millions. And do you know what? When they redid the show, when they did the new Starlight Express in the early 90s, Trevor Nunn, when he redirected it, he said, I want people to fall over. They were trying to put in specific crashes because then it would let the audience know how hard it was, because people had got so great on the skates that it was like, as an audience member, you're like, oh, this isn't impressive. So they tried to schedule in like, and the performers were like, nah, sorry, mate, because you'll end up like this all the time.
Like
exactly. So they took that out.
And then you just had like another little art house show called West Side Street. Never.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And whilst you obviously done my research, this isn't just thrown together. Whilst you were rehearsing the Mambo, your eyes crossed the room to a gentleman playing Bernardo.
Indeed.
Married to him.
Married 22 years. 22 years. It was our anniversary last week. Don't get that for murder. But yes, it was all very lovely. And I knew Graham before because we were in Greece, but at separate times. I was the first cast, he was second cast. So you get to know people, you cross over. Oh, you're rehearsing, I'm leaving. So I knew him. He was a mate.
I'm going to see you by you.
Yeah, all right, try. And I'll be married to you. No, I didn't know that at all. And so 22 years of marriage. And it literally was, when we were in rehearsals, like, there was a moment where you get quite close and there's a real frisson of excitement. And I went, oh, and we both fell to him. And both had partners at the time. It was like, dump your partner, we're running away together. And so, yeah, that was all very lovely.
Art of Anna. Yeah. Anita, cross and drunk. I'm literally drunk. Anita, singing that song America. That
Yeah.
I could talk. Doll, you've done all the roles that gay men want to play. Like literally, the list is endless. What was it like swishing that skirt? What was it like doing that iconic? Because I believe that you were taught by one of original cast member, so it was the original choreographer. What was that like to someone who is a musical theatre nerd like me?
Well, I used to do dance festivals, big dance festivals, kid. And West Side Story, America, was my song and dance. So from the age of about 12, I was, you know, with a terrible, like, bronzer on, trying to look Hispanic. I mean, I'm from Manchester. So lots of bronzer and swishing my skirt around and trying to push my tiny little 12-year-old boobs up like that.
Uh-uh.
Done that song, like I say, from the age of 13. So when at 26, when we were doing the show, I was like, I know this inside out and backwards. But there were like moments of small tear of excitement of, oh my God, I'm doing this. It's beautiful choreography. I know they've done a revamped version. I'm interested to see the film. I really am. The new film coming out.
Yeah.
And I've seen clips of when they've done America and it looks fantastic. But that exciting choreography, unless they've got that going on and you've got that, woo, everybody whooping and screaming, it will be interesting to see.
Yeah. I think for me, obviously, studying musical theatre, I never understood West Side Story because I only saw it on DVD.
Yeah.
Paul came round about 5 years ago, and I sat in the auditorium and I thought, right, just forget everything, just drink it in, just forget what you know.
Yeah.
It is the noise that, oh, Anna, it is beautiful. It is so, again, because it was live, at the end, I was generally like,
oh, in bits. In absolute bits, yeah. Absolutely. I think as well what they do with West Side, which is very clever. Excuse me, I'm just swallowing my Nutella bagel.
I don't. I'll fill.
You fill while I swallow. That's what they always employ a young cast, which is great because there's nothing like the energy of young lads. When we did the show, Graham and I were kind of the oldest ones. I was 26, he was 29. But everybody else was younger. We even had lads who were like 18 who had just come out of college. So they were pumped up, they were fired up, and they were good gangs. They weren't horrible people, they were feisty lads, but they really felt that gang mentality, and that comes across as from if you're an audience member, that you can, if you've got a load of old Jets and Sharks who are like 30, married, got a mortgage like that. I don't, whatever. And so they're really clever in the way they cast it. Wow. They always cast youngsters.
I think of all the things that I've looked at and having mini Anna Jane Casey concerts yesterday, if I could go and see any performance that you have done that I hadn't already, Sweet Charity. I mean, how obviously you must know the film. I mean, and of course the Gwen. Yeah. Oh, how when there's a role like that and people know it so well.
Yeah.
Is it more intimidating or less intimidating because you know the audience already love her, or have you got to pay tribute to how much she's loved? Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's a good question. Very good. It's like Parkinson here, isn't it, babes?
How big your breasts? No, joking.
Oh, yeah. Do you know what I always thought? Because the way Tim Sheeder directed the show, and the Sheffield Crucible is such a great place because it's very open. It's not a cross arch. They're all the way around. And so they had a brilliant idea. The band were on stage, and the first image was, so you know the Statue of Liberty holding the flame? Well, the first image was me holding an ice cream. So the lights had come up, so I'd look like the Statue of Liberty. Then he was like, we want it to be silly. Because Charity's she's a bit ditzy, which is why things always go wrong. So I had the ice cream, so I'd lick it, and then it'd fall down my arm, and then there was a big staircase, so I'd try to save it, but I'd slide down the staircase while I was saving it. So we did the first 5 minutes of the overture and the entr'acte was non-speaking, just comedy. We wanted it to be physical comedy, because then the audience get that image of, oh, she's a bit of a klutz, and we kind of like her, because, oh, she's sweet. And then that lulls them into that false sense of security that everything's going to be cool and groovy. So then when at the end, when Oscar's thrown her in the lake and says, I don't want to be with you anymore, and you come up and you're sobbing, that a dresser's thrown a bucket of water over you, and then you're just sobbing and crying from the middle of the stage. It was brilliant. I think Tim's production was fantastic because, like you say, it's so well known. People go, oh, it's Shirley MacLaine or it's Gwynplaine. No, we tried to make it like comedy, so then the real pathos of it, and you really loved her. Yeah, I loved that show. Yeah. I still say that's my fave.
I think
all my friends joined. That's hilarious. My friend who lives over the road. Hi, Hannah. What's
I
Hannah watching for?
But I think, obviously, knowing you as a performer and seeing you in shows, I think, oh God, I'd do anything to have seen Anna in that. Because I can almost, not completely, but I can almost, my cogs can piece together how it would have looked and how it would have been.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
your look is very, I would say, very, I mean, obviously, very charity and that. But
Well,
what
they
about
cut all my hair off. The reason I have short hair now is because they cut it all off when I did charity. So I was about 29, 30. So for the last 18 years, I've now had short hair. And at first, when they first cut it off, I was like, oh no, don't cut that. I had a boring old bob. Now I won't go back. So it's very special in my life that it's done me barnet for a start.
And I again, looking at you as Mrs. Wilkinson, I had to double take because you, I was like, is that? Oh, it's definitely
A very lovely boofy wig. Yeah.
And then you did, I mean, another little. Did you do any big productions? You did West Side. No, you didn't. I'm drunk, goodbye. You did Sunday in the Park with George at the Meunier Chocolate Factory.
Indeed.
Now, this, I mean, it was the talk of the town at the time. It was brilliant. It moved to the West End. You didn't go with it because you had a baby, not because you hated everyone. And
it's funny because there were certain cast members of that production who years later had said to me, you didn't come with us because you hated everyone. I was like, no, I was locked up. By the time we'd have opened in the West End, I'd have been 8 months pregnant now, docked with a big bustle on the back and then a big bump on the front.
Yep.
I'm not gonna, I look like Mr. Greedy, wouldn't I? Be like, what's Mr. Greedy come into the picture for? And, you know, they'd already scheduled the time. There's decisions that you make in your life that you can either regret them, you can go, oh, I should have done that. I can't regret that. I've got 2 beautiful children, you know. And Jenna Russell, who I say is phenomenal, she's a great friend of mine. I'm glad she got it rather than, oh, let's get somebody off the telly. Let's get somebody off Love Island. You know, they gave that brilliant part to somebody who is unbelievably wonderful, far more qualified than I. Hands up, say it.
I'm going to tell you, yeah.
And, you know, she's fantastic. And you can't ever go, oh, I could have had that, Olivier. I could have gone to Broadway. Well, I couldn't get hit by a truck tomorrow. You know, it's just, you live each day at a time and you appreciate what you've got. So I really enjoyed it. I mean, I'll be honest, sometimes not my favourite writer, which a lot of people go about, but I'm a Jerry Herman show tune girl. Give me something I can sing.
Myself.
Yeah. So sometimes it was difficult to learn for me. I got the intricacies as we went along, but I was like, are we going to sing? When are those songs happening? There's none of them.
See, I needed Into the Woods at college, and it nearly put me in my grave.
Oh my God, it's hard, man.
I had
the War and Peace of musical theatre.
And there's a really small motif about looking for the cloak. Do you think? I was like I literally was like tapping it like this. I was like on stage going, it's the cloak, balls, and forest. It was just awful.
Hard. I don't need to concentrate that hard. You know what I mean? I'm pooped, dear.
I don't get who I am. But the first time that I saw you on stage was, I spoke to Sophie Louise's dad and mentioned this story, and I don't know if it was maybe it was because I was there and I thought it was the biggest thing that ever happened. But you were just about to go on. No, you were in the middle of Defying Gravity. The wicked. Motif.
Defying Socrates. Yeah.
And during the number, the fire alarm went off.
Oh right.
And you had to leave the stage, and we had all these like middle-aged guys going, "We need to leave. There's a fire. We need to." And I was like, I was there with my friend going, "I don't know what to do." Leave.
I'm gonna burn to death in the chocolate factory. Yeah.
But it all calmed down, and then you came back on stage, and your first line was something like, "I'll blow this theatre up because," and I remember everybody going, "Wah!" But obviously when you I think it's one of my first shows that I saw on my own. I'm with my friend, and I was like, this is the biggest thing that's ever happened in the West End.
Oh, those shows are hilarious. I've never had, I'm always up for a laugh, and I always say, you know, do your job, but don't take yourself too seriously. Have a good laugh. And when it came to being Broadway, I swear to God, the 4 weeks rehearsal period, I've never laughed so hard in my life. The fellow who directs it, Sophie might have told you this, but Philip George, who directs it, is one of the funniest men alive. He has a couple of phrases. One is park and bark. Okay, girl, you come on, you park and bark, which is basically walk to the front, stand there and sing. Park and bark. And then there was a great direction when the boys do Saigon. So it's the heat is on in Saigon. The direction is to the John and the Chris, which was Damien Humbly and the lovely Ben Lewis. You need to shout into each other's mouths. So they just would direct, they just shout into each other's mouths. Brilliant direction. Just come on, shout into each other's mouths and get off.
Hilarious.
There you go, that's all I need to know.
And thank you. And it's hard to say, but maybe it's not a song that you were in or performed. What is one of your favourite parody songs of that?
Well, it's got to be Cheetah Rita. It's always Cheetah Rita. Absolutely fantastic. Like, you know, some of the lyrics are great. What's one of my favourites? I am a versatile actress, long as you stay on the mattress. I mean, two women like bitching each other off. So funny.
For someone who at that age was just trying to find my tribe and where I was, and I had friends here that loved musical theatre, but to get those cast albums and to go, oh my God, someone notices what I notice. I mean, the one about Bernadette Peters' coffin in Gypsy.
Oh yes.
Hilarious.
Or at the end of the show, you're another year older. On
my phone. Brilliant.
Yeah.
And you've done so much, Anna. We could talk for ages, but you are again brilliant playing that little role of Roxy in Chicago.
But I was Velma.
Oh my God! Okay, no, it literally says Velma. Look. So.
But I've got a story about that. So I'm 5'3", and I'm a little feisty kind of terrier type dancer. Most people who play Velma are like the 8 foot tall leggy ones, you know, your Nicola Hughes, your Uta Lemper, Anne Ranking. So, sorry, not Anne Ranking, it was BB Newirth, which is why I think they went, oh, she's kind of BBS, she's little and whatever. But I'd said after my first time in Chicago, I'd said, can I audition for Roxy? And do you know what they said? You're not pretty enough. Rude. I was like, okay. So I was told I wasn't pretty enough. Do you know what? Don't care. But Velma's kind of the bitchy one. Your Roxy's the kind of girly one. But yeah, I didn't mind. I took it on the chin. You've got to, haven't you? That's what makes us stronger than ever, is to go, well, you think I'm too fat, thin, tall, short, whatever, ugly. Don't care.
But that's regardless of that, and that's awful. And you're not. You're gorgeous.
Stop it.
But to me, like, as much as people, it is about Roxy, it's her story in a sense.
Yeah.
Velma is the one that has, honest to God, how does it feel coming out of that trapdoor at the start?
Absolutely brilliant. I mean, the first time you do it, you're crapping your pants. You're like, him again. And what was hilarious as well is, like I say, I'm 5'3", so I'd come upon the rise. And some of the tall girls in the show when we were rehearsing would keep looking down, going, is there any more of her? No, that's all. She's got that tiny person. Hello. But no, that is exciting. And yeah, it's a great show.
It is. And I'm not just saying it because you're here, but one of my favourite songs in that show is Velma Takes a Stand. And I don't know why. It's a very short song, but I think it showed me when I first watched it, the drive that she has, and especially when she gets carried off at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Music, please.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Did you have any trouble with the ladders, darling? And not in your tights?
No. They're a little scary. They'll sometimes they swing you on. But I remember seeing the show when Cheetah Rivera, our Lord Cheetah, when Cheetah was in the show, and she was probably in her mid-60s at that point, and she got swung on for Funny Honey. That Funny Honey. And I thought, if she falls, death. I thought, please God, let them say they've bungeed her on, they've hooked her on, because if that old Nana falls, there'll be cracked bits of Cheetah all over the stage. But no, the ladders were all right.
This is obviously that scary bit. I think it's just before Me and My Baby, where they literally...
Yeah, the start of Act 2 when you get swung on. Yeah, you're holding on for dear life. You are gripping like for Jesus.
I'm going to have to tell you this little story about Cheetah Rivera. It's one of my favourite. So I was chaperoning her at the Olivier Awards that I do every year, and she was she was doing the In Memoriam. She was singing Somewhere.
Yes.
And she came late during the evening to watch the rehearsal of Joseph. She was sat in the aisle of the Royal Albert Hall. Sometimes, Anna, I can't believe the thing that come out of my mouth. I mean, a bloke from Wolverhampton, it's like mental. And I said to myself, right, she's right there. She looks really pleasant. She smiled. Go and speak to her. I walked over to her and I went, Miss Cheetah Rivera, no, Cheetah, I'm so pleased to have met you. She went, oh, I've been here before with West Side Story. I was like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we were having a conversation, and then Josie started, dun, 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 dun. And she went, oh, I'm not misquoting. I went, oh, I'm such a gypsy. I fucking love this song. I close my eyes. And I was like, she was holding my hand whilst doing it. I thought, you know what?
If I die now, this is all good. Yeah.
Go and work at Waitrose because you've done enough. This is it.
Again, well, I think that when I'm knocking on someone's door delivering a parcel, I'm like, Cheetah Rivera, I've had lunch with her. Did you know? Here's your parcel, sod off.
but it's just that. It's just that. Like to me and you, what she's done. To look at me and go, I was here before in West Side Story in London. I was like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know, babes. Yeah, she is quite powerful. And she's still going. She's 105.
Oh, she's... Billy Elliot.
Yes.
Playing Mrs. Wilkinson.
Yes.
Is it Miss or Miss? Mrs.?
Miss
No. Being a mother yourself, because obviously there's so many child protection, blah, 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 what is the hardest part about seeing a child tired on stage?
Oh man, well, because I worked as a kid as well.
Yes.
You know, I never thought that when I was a child, when I was working, that I was exploited in any way. And I wouldn't say it's exploitation because that's a strong word to put on it. But let me tell you that these kids are, for the money they're earning, I mean, when you're 10 years old and they're putting money in your account, it could be a 50 quid and you think you're loaded. And which is why I think when Billy Elliot was on Broadway, I could be saying this all wrong, but on Broadway, the rules are very different and they have to pay the children the same rate as the adults.
Yes.
You're talking good 4 figures, you know, let's put, say, $3,000 a week for these. Oh, there's my cat. Hello, pussycat. Whereas in London, it's very different. Our rules are very different. There were moments when I'd look at these children and just go, oh, look, I have a visitor. I'm like, you're being exploited. You don't know that. But now as an adult, I can see that. And then I looked at my own life as a child and thought, oh my God, they're getting away with it. Do you know what I mean? Oh, is this my daughter now? Everybody's coming in. Are you coming in for a week? She needs to poop. Well, then come on in. Shut the door behind you. I don't need to hear you pooping. This is my life.
I love it.
So yes, that one, the white one. Shut the white door. This is what happens. This is my real life.
Absolutely fine.
So yeah, the children exploited slightly, and there was one time, oh bless them, because they have the small boy, the one who comes on and does Jesus, and he really is. He's 6 or 7, and like my little girl's 8 now, but at the time she was 4 or 5, and I thought, and they're falling asleep in the wings and everything. They're like nodding off, and then they wake them up to shove them on. And as beautiful it is as an audience member, as a parent, you're like, they should be at home with a cup of cocoa in an episode of, you know, In the Night Garden, but they want to do it, you know, in the same way that my mum always says, if I hadn't let you go to London when you were 16, you would have hated me for the rest of your life. These children are so phenomenally talented and they want to do it. Those Billies, even if they're knackered and all they've got is a cheese sandwich and a packet of crisps and they've got an 8-hour rehearsal day, you know, come on, Sam, you've got to run up that wall. No problem. They do it because you have all that excitement and the bravado of it that you're going to do it anyway. So they are exploited, but they're kind of not. It's, you know, they're amazing children.
And did you enjoy wearing your big drag tutu at the end?
They're properly made by like Royal Ballet tutu makers. So you're like, oh, you've got a proper one on. It's very nice. Right. You're right now. Can you get out? Can you shut that brown door, baby girl? I know. Thanks very much. The life of a mother.
And then you also done Spamalot.
Yes.
Age of the Lake.
I got my holy grail. God.
Oh. And again, doing my research, they tend to always put a star in that role.
Indeed.
And I've had the same issue with you. Not with you, as you. Obviously in Jodie, seeing yourself, seeing Bonnie.
Yeah.
And somebody else, but that role was written for a woman to belt it out, because that's the point of it. In a sense, it was that diva part.
Yeah.
But when someone can't sing it or can't act it,
yeah,
that part is so important, because that's the one female role and it's about the divaisms and the vocal acrobatics. Besides all that, in your Find Your Grail,
Yes.
who did you mimic?
Oh, well, Christina Aguilera is one of my favourites. It's also my little one's favourites. We're going on a bit of a road trip later. We will have Genie in a Bottle at like full blast. So Christina, any of those like soul-y kind of girls, but definitely Christina, because the woman's a legend. So that's what I kind of thought on that. Can I got time to tell you a hilarious story? Now, Hannah Waddingham, our lady Hannah, big worship to Hannah Waddingham. She's phenomenal. Fabulous. So she's first Lady of the Lake in the London production. Hannah's 6 foot tall, fantastically voluptuous body. She comes up to do Find Your Grail, and she's had a shoulder injury because the Grail in London was very, very heavy. And so she'd been having treatment, and she felt like a tick, and she thought, oh, it's my muscle ticking. So she just went like that to kind of stop it, carried on the song. The next day, the dresser said to her, Hannah, I found a dead mouse in your costume. So in her great big padded costume, a mouse had crept in. She's singing a song. The mouse wakes up. Oh, what's going on? She just whacks it, kills a mouse, stone dead. And there's a dead mouse sitting in her costume. This is theatre. This is real life theatre, people. So that's I never had dead mice in my boobs, thank Jesus.
But were your costumes made by the gentleman that did Shares and Sleep?
Yes. Yeah, they were all those. What's he called? I can't think of them.
Were they very glam?
They were very glam. They were beautiful. My corset. And I just had the little one who you just saw having a poop. Well, you didn't see her because that's a whole different website. Yep. She was...
Cancelled. Started this.
She was only 5 months old. So I was still, a woman of, baby carrying material. So my corset was like... And I actually had boobs at that point because I was still breastfeeding. Ugh. So I had like these fantastic tits that going on. But yeah, it was a great role to play. But once again... I'm not 8 foot tall. I'm not a fabulous kind of black soul singer. So you're going to have to find a way to do it. So I was going for the comedy angle. Yeah. Falling over at the back.
And a certain person said you were funny.
But Michael Palin said, he came to see a show and he said, and then we were all like, oh my God, Michael Palin. And he said, do you know what? You were really funny. I was like, thanks. I'll keep that one till the day I die.
Hold on. Let's just try to remember writing. Right. Unwritten songs.
Right, yes.
Hold on, is it right? Massive? No. Is it unwritten? Oh my gosh. I love it. I've literally listened to it this morning. The musical theatre song.
Oh, yes. Yes.
That. Oh my goodness me. For people who have not listened to that, go and listen to it. Even just
what's Michael's surname?
Michael Bruce?
Michael Bruce, oh my God, I'm so sorry, Michael, if you're anywhere watching this. Michael Bruce, phenomenal young man from Aberdeen, started writing songs when he was like 9 years old and did a kind of parody. If anybody hasn't heard it, it's a parody of, pardon me, is anybody listening, Not Getting Married Today, the Sondheim song from Company. But it lists all the musical theatre songs. It's a bugger to learn and it's a bugger to sing. And because it keeps going, if you miss one, Mamma Mia, like you're effed. You're like, where have I gone?
I lose my mind when you said the word cabana. Cabana.
But that is a great song to sing, and yeah, and I sing that in my cabaret, and I do enjoy doing it. We do a count up at the end. We say, how many did you guess? I think there's about 143 shows in there.
Wow.
Most people say 24. I'm like, it's 24 in the first 3 lines, dear.
But I think it's really, I love the little isms you do, like Brigadoon. Because it breaks up. The listening to it is beautiful.
Yeah.
Plus, you have the last 6 seconds, which is just, a gay man's dream.
A big note.
A big note. I'm Liza, 1 note. Not you, you're not. So, I've also seen that you're in an episode of Family Guy.
I am.
Of course, you sang with Seth at where was it? The South? What?
Some little hall. Albert
Hall. Yeah. Royal Albert Hall. So, what did you play in My Family?
So there's an episode called Downton Stewie, where Stewie, because obviously he's very British, Stewie has realised he's actually not part of the Griffin family. Like, he's been adopted or drafted in. He's like, where are my real family? So they discover that he's got this British family and they live in a big mansion. And I play his mum. And I've done the concerts with Seth. We've done the Albert Hall ones. We've done some recordings for John Wilson, and we've done some concerts in LA. Seth had invited the whole orchestra to 91 players, 5 soloists. We all got flown over to America to do 3 concerts to show America what the John Wilson Orchestra was. So we finished that. Amazing. Thank you very much, Seth. Great moment in my life. I'd come back and I got this message. Would you do some lines for Family Guy? Because I was one of the only British people he knew. And I was like, would I? Not only am I a massive fan, but...
Oh, thank you. Goodbye.
No, I'm very busy delivering parcels and wiping children's poo. Goodbye. So I got to do... I think I recorded about 10 lines. There's only 2 scenes with the mother. But I was thinking, I'm going to get flown to LA. No. I'm in a studio in Soho, you know, and they're down the line. Hi there, AJ. Could you just do that line again? So if you look for Downton Stewie, I play the mother. And I've got the wig, the character's got a very kind of browny red bob. And I speak very, very posh, which is hilarious. But it is great because I can really dine out on that one, especially with my 13-year-old who's like an angsty teenager. And then her mates will go, were you in Family Guy? And I go, yes. Yes, I was. Yes. Few dots, thank you.
I mean, that's brilliant because I think something like that, it just another, I hate that word, bow, but it's another thing that you've done that's so like Family Guy. Oh no, Family Guy. Yeah.
And you know what's weird is I only did, I think in the episode there's about 4 lines that I physically say. I keep getting checks. I mean, they're not for a lot. It might be $40 here and there, but it builds up. So I imagine if you're a regular character on Family Guy, you are minted because the voiceover work in America is very different than here. You can earn a frickin' fortune by just standing in the studio going blah, 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 blah. So yeah, thank you, Seth, because every so often I get $40.
Thank you. England coffee. I think for someone who, again, loves musical theatre, as I keep repeating, because you didn't remember, the clips that I found on you at the Royal Albert Hall, and as you say, giving it arms in frocks, I mean, it is one of my favourites. Is obviously Don't Run on Parade because I'm a huge homosexual. And you mentioned that you were angsty doing that song. The look on your face when you hit that beat and the orchestra stops is like, oh, thank fuck.
There is a moment of that, like, I didn't die. I didn't really crack up that badly. It's so funny because people watch it and they go, oh, you're so good. I said, no, watch the last second. Great. And I go, like, I've just soiled myself. Like, thank God I didn't fall off the stage. I didn't go, ah! And, you know, and 200 other West End ladies didn't go, well, she was rubbish there. So that's quite nice. It was funny because it was repeated on the telly a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it, on a Sunday? And I'd come in the night before from delivering a load of parcels, like I say, bitten by dogs, covered in crap. So I had a small tear thinking, that's my real job. Oh. We'll get back to it. We bloody better I'd do.
But what? Oh no, doll. What's it like for someone who probably will never know? Just, well, standing in a frock, I could do that. But standing in a big frock with all these, the packed Royal Albert Hall, and the noise behind you. If you could describe it in 5 words, what are you feeling? I'm doing this, so you can't see. But what are you?
No, I like it. Well, there's euphoria for a start because the sound of that orchestra, when there's 91 of them, I mean, the string section alone is like 20, 30 strong. That is stunning. So euphoric, I would say thrilling. So thrilling because you've got I think it's just over 5,000 people at the Albert Hall. And even though it's a big space, when they're all in there, you can see everybody, even the tiny people at the top. So euphoric, exhilarating, overwhelming. You kind of have to really hold yourself together. It's really exciting. And it's for somebody who likes showing off. I've always been a show off. I'm not afraid to say it. You know, people are like, oh, I'm trying to be all like demure. No, sod it. Look at me, like me.
My turn now.
My turn, big dress. It's really, really thrilling. And there's nothing like it. I mean, you hear pop stars say, you know, when they play Glastonbury and they go, look out over the Puma stage. And on a smaller scale, I can kind of understand it. It really is. There's nowhere else you'd want to be. Unless, obviously, you're a real shy, retiring violet. And then it would be a nightmare to stand there and everybody looking at you. But for me, I'm like, yes!
To quote Carol Channing, the safest place to be is centre stage.
It's so true. God bless Carol. Is she still alive?
Oh, God, I'm going to get my gay card revoked now, Anna. I think
she dead yet?
Is she not? She passed away?
I think she might have gone. I think she might have gone to the big theatre in the sky.
God bless her. What a woman. For anybody right now who's feeling a little bit put out and a little bit down about what's going on in the world, Go and watch Anna Jane Casey tap her trouble away. It's
Oh,
10 minutes and 39 seconds of pure joy. Now, you
it is
please
lovely.
tell me that you enjoyed that. You could let yourself do. Oh wow!
Well, my girl was only 4 or 5 months old.
She died last year.
She died last year, Carol Channing. God rest her soul. I thought you meant my child. I was like, no, she didn't. She's over it. I haven't got time to bury her, so she's going to have to just lie there. Yeah. What were we saying? Tap Your Troubles Away.
Yeah.
So Tap Your Troubles Away, that song will be played at my funeral, I swear to God. Because I played Mabel in the Watermill production of Mac and Mabel,
Yeah.
and then when they did a bigger version at Chichester, I was Lottie, so I got to sing Tap Your Troubles Away. Then it came up at the prom, and I do it at loads of concerts. So that'll be the song. As they're wheeling me, the coffin's going into the fire, it will be Tap Your Troubles Away. It will be that. And it's brilliant. And Josh Prince, who did the choreography, did a banging job on that one. Because we were very limited space. I think it was the first time they'd actually had dance at the proms. And they were trying to figure out how much space we need. Because obviously you've got 91 players. You can't say to the cellists, can you move back because 15 tap dancers are coming on? Because they're like, no, Juilliard, you can sod off, dear. So we had to really arrange the space. And yeah, Josh did an amazing job. Amazing job.
And we're going to jump into now some quick-fire questions, but I literally could talk about, oh God, I mean, Flowers for Mrs. Harris, done, Stepping Out that I saw you in, I'm going to forget it on That's Melting Away, the Pan done, Mac and Mabel, but for time-consuming reasons, we're not going to talk about it, so I have done my research, just so you know.
That's beautiful.
I have somehow created a time machine, Anna Jane Casey of Television.
Okay.
We are in this time machine.
Yes.
You have 2 tickets with me to go and see any musical ever made, front row on the opening night of it. What are we seeing?
Do you know what? This is, I would like to say the original West Side Story. I think the first night of the original West Side must have been mind-blowing. But then again, I would have loved to have been in the room where it happened, when they first did, Grease, yeah. Step it out. No. When Lin-Manuel Miranda and his little mate who directed it, before it was ever a big thing, when they first did a showing of it, probably in some back room in Washington Heights in an old college, and gone, I've got this kind of idea about Hamilton, because I watched it the other day on the old Disney Plus thing, and it's quite phenomenal. You know, and I'm an old woman, and I like a Jerry Herman show tune, but I was like intrigued by it, and the concept that is the way that musicals are now moving to is really exciting. So yeah, West Side Story. So it'd be 1957 with the old babes. I'd be in a 50s frock. You'd be in a suit and a cravat.
50s frock.
You'd be in a 50s frock. I'd be in a suit and cravat. Or Hamilton with a baseball cap on sideways doing this. Being down with the kids.
Okay, so we'll go and see one of those. You have to pick one of those for the matinee, and then for the evening, I'll take you. Well, you pay for sardines. You've got to go. So
amazing.
Take McFarlane money, and take you to go and see Funny Girl, starring Barbara Streisand at the Winter Garden.
Oh, that would have been corking, wouldn't it? Yes.
Okay, so hot or cold?
What do I like to be?
Yes.
I like to be hot.
I'm always
cold.
Hot or cold?
What now? I like to be warm because I'm always cold. So yes, hot.
Walk or run?
Run. I'm a marathon runner.
Dance or sing?
Ooh, difficult. Sing.
Give or receive?
Give.
Meat or veg?
Meat.
Night in or night out?
Night in.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Play or musical?
Play.
Lily Savage or RuPaul?
Lily Savage.
Cats or dogs?
Both.
Beyonce or Celine?
Beyonce, baby.
Hugs or kisses?
Hugs.
Day or night?
Night.
Stephen Sondheim or Andrew Lloyd Webber?
Do I have to? Oh, dear God. Sondheim.
Bernadette Peters or Patti LuPone?
Patti LuPone.
Best performance that you've ever seen live?
Tracy Bennett doing End of the Rainbow.
What a... I know. Talk about that. Go-to shower song?
Go-to shower song. And I am telling you, I'm going.
Dream Roll?
Funny Girl.
Oh.
Fanny Bryce.
Oh, yeah. A girl better have a sense of humour. Biggest onstage mishap.
I crapped myself when I was in Cats, shat my pants on stage, did a big liquidy poo all in my lycra and carried on doing a number with cat all down my legs. Yeah.
Where? Go-to cast album.
Go-to Cast album, West Side Story original, Broadway. I've got it on vinyl. It's amazing.
Favourite sweet?
Say again.
Favourite sweet?
Favourite sweet. I do like just a chew, like a fruit chew, a fruitella chew.
Favourite month of the year?
Favourite month of the year, August. Right now, summertime. It's warm.
Favourite sound?
Favourite sound, absolute silence.
Really?
Yeah. Because I'm so busy and I'm so manic, absolute silence is heavenly. Or the waves on the shore, we all like.
That's mine, the waves. Smell? Favourite smell?
Freshly cut grass. Mm.
Favourite drink?
Tea.
Favourite movie?
Oh, that's difficult. Everyone says Shawshank, but I'm going to go with Get Out. You know, the Jordan Peterson,
yes!
which is brilliant. Yeah, Get Out, great film.
We've only got a few more minutes left, but is there any stories that you want to tell me that you think that people like me would love to know about musical theatre?
Let me think. Well, apart from the fact that I did poo myself on stage in Cats, I really did. Crapped myself, joyous. What other funny stories have I got? Oh my God. Oh, you've really put me on the spot.
Sorry.
Oh, that's all right. Do you know what? I met Jerry Herman when we did Mac and Mabel at the Watermill Theatre, tiny little theatre, 200 people sitting in there, and you're literally this close, hello, to everybody. And Jerry Herman, they said, Jerry Herman's going to come and see the show. And I was like, nah, never. He's never going to come over. He's 804 and he's, you know, he's HIV positive. He's probably just lying there, bathed in some kind of juice, just trying to get his life together. He came over to see us. I've got a picture of us with him, and he loved the show. And he said, when I did Wherever He Ate, he said, I've never known a woman be so angry singing Wherever He Ate. He said it was brilliant. So that's kind of nice. Jerry Herman said my Wherever He Ate was brilliant.
Thank you. For people who right now need some joy, one musical theatre song, what would you tell them to listen to?
Don't Rain on My Parade. Don't listen to me, though. Listen to Barbara, because she's phenomenal. You know, there's nothing like it. It just goes, don't tell me not to. It's like it starts angry and it becomes joyous. So yeah, Don't Rain on My Parade.
If you ever put it on whilst walking, like normally in a shopping centre, you find yourself going, like, giving it full.
Oh yeah, give it full on shoulders.
Last question, but before we go, Anna Jane Casey, I mean this with no exaggeration. It's just been a joy to talk to you.
Oh, and it's your birthday.
It's my birthday.
It's your birthday. Yes.
And there's so many more things we could talk about. I think what you do and what you stand for and how you go about and how you carry yourself in this business is an absolute triumph. And I hear beautiful stories about the way you lead a company and how kind you are. What a gorgeous woman. The last question, Anna Jane Casey, before I let you go, what would be the name of your autobiography?
It would be I'm Not Dead Yet. There you go. Not dead yet, babes.
And all that jizz.
And all that jizz, yeah.
Anna Jane Casey, thank you so much. Have a lovely, lovely day.
And you have a wonderful birthday. Go and eat loads of cake. You're allowed to.
All
right. I'm going to do some teaching online now. I'm going to teach a lovely girl how to sing.
Ah!
Warm up, dear. All right. God bless.
Thank you so much, Anna. Bye.
Bye, Angel. Bye.